pulling stopped so clean, it felt like someone cut the line with scissors. 1 second, my ankle was being hauled across the lobby tile, like I'd been clipped to something that didn't get tired. Tyler's hand sliding on my wrist, my mouth open on a scream that kept coming out like air, and the next second, the pressure was just gone. Not easing off, gone. Momentum didn't care. I still slid another foot, and my cheek smacked against the floor hard enough that the edges of everything went soft and bright. Cold tile, tongue-tasting copper like I'd been chewing pennies. The warm, sour stink from the pale growth thick in my nose, the kind of smell that makes your throat tighten on instinct. I blinked and waited for the world to snap back into school lobby. It didn't. It was still the lobby, the front office counter, the faded visitors report to main office sign, the trophy case we'd shoved half sideways earlier, but there was another layer sitting on top of it now, like the building had grown a second skin, and it didn't match the first one's shape. The pale stuff didn't look like something spreading the way mold spreads. It looked placed, installed. Strands stretched in clean arcs from wall to wall, thickening where they met like tendons meeting bone. The ceiling had been pulled down into a shallow dome, like the room had decided it needed a different shape to hold whatever it was holding. My ankles screamed when I tried to get my knee under me. It felt rubbed raw. The residue around it smeared instead of flaking. It clung like it wanted to be part of me. Someone grabbed my shoulder. Ben, get up. Tyler. His voice was cracked and too loud right in my ear. He was half crouched beside me, eyes wide and wet like he hadn't blinked in a while. There was pale residue streaked onto his jeans from where the strand had hooked him earlier. It sat there, glossy and patient, like it was waiting for permission to sink in. Nina was a few feet away on her knees, frozen mid-reach, like she'd been trying to drag me back when the pull hit and her body just locked. Her mouth was open. Nothing came out. Her eyes were stuck on me like I was proof that something normal still worked. I pushed up onto my hands and looked for Mr. Haskins without meaning to. He was still standing. For half a second, my brain tried to run denial like it was an app that always opens when you're scared. Upright means alive. Upright means he's about to bark at us to keep our heads down. Upright means he's fine. Then I saw his chest. It moved once, not a breath, a twitch, like someone plucked a string and let go. The yardstick was still in his hands. It wasn't straight anymore. It was bent into a bowed U like cheap metal. His fingers were still wrapped around it, knuckles pale, like his hands hadn't gotten the message that the rest of him was finished. That part almost made me gag. His hands looked like they were still doing their job. The pale growth had climbed him without drama, wrapped his calves, his thighs. It rose to his waist and tightened like a harness. It didn't rip him apart. It didn't drag him screaming across the floor. It pulled him in, slow and sure, like he belonged there, like the wall had been waiting for him, the way a seat waits for you to sit down. A fold of the stuff lifted along his ribs and settled over his chest the way a blanket gets drawn up over someone sleeping. It smoothed across him and tightened at the edges. His face stayed visible for a heartbeat. His eyes were open. They weren't on us. They were looking past us. Not up, not toward the windows, past, like he could see the next step in front of him, and we were just in the way. Then, the pale surface slid over his jaw, his mouth, his nose. The last thing to disappear was his forehead, and the wall went flush again like he'd never existed there at all. Nina made a sound like grass cracking in a quiet room. She rocked forward and put both hands on the tile, like her body was trying to keep her from tipping through the floor. Tyler whispered, "Oh my God." And then again, softer, like saying it quietly could make it less true. I didn't say anything. My throat wouldn't do words. It just held this thick pressure like a swallowed stone. Behind us, somewhere down the hallway we'd come through, faint scraping started. Slow, heavy, like something shifting its weight on purpose. Tyler's head snapped toward it. "Jaden?" No answer. That's when it hit me how quiet our little cluster was now. Just the three of us breathing. No Jaden swearing, no pacing, no frantic loop of nonsense words. The silence felt staged, like it was waiting for us to fill it. I didn't want to turn my head and count who wasn't there. My brain tried to keep it fuzzy. If I didn't tally it, it can't finalize. But the hallway behind the lobby doors was wrong now, thickened with that pale tissue. It bulged at the ends like the building had sealed it with muscle. A shape moved under the surface near the corner. Not a person shape, more like a pressure wave sliding under skin. Nina saw it too. Her eyes went wide and she jerked backward on her knees, palms scraping tile. Tyler grabbed my elbow. "Ben, now. We can't." The corner split with a wet stretch sound, and a thin strand slid out, glossy and pale. It didn't thrash around like a horror movie tentacle. It tested the air in little searching motions, like fingers learning what air is. It waved once, and then angled toward us, and my skin went tight because it moved like it had found vibration. Nina made a strangled noise and tried to stand. Her shoe slipped on the tile like there was oil there now. Maybe there was. I did the only thing my body could do. I grabbed Nina's wrist, got her upright, and moved. Tyler was already moving, tugging me with him. We didn't run. Running felt like ringing a bell. We moved fast and ugly and too quiet, shoulders hunched. Eyes aimed at the floor like that rule still mattered. As we crossed the lobby, I caught the trophy case glass in my peripheral. I didn't want to. It just happened, the way mirrors catch you even when you're trying not to look at yourself. In the reflection, the ceiling webbing and our faces slid past, warped. And there, half embedded in the wall near the front office doors, was a figure, smaller than Mr. Haskins. Hoodie, backpack strap, a hand pressed flat under the pale surface, like it was trapped in ice. Jaden. His face was turned sideways, cheeks smashed against the tissue, eyes open and glossy, with that thin, oily sheen. His mouth moved, no sound, just the shape of breath that couldn't get out. Like he was trying to say something, and the wall had decided he didn't get sound anymore. My stomach flipped so hard, I thought I was going to throw up on the tile. Tyler yanked my sleeve hard. Don't stare." "I saw him," I whispered, and my voice didn't sound like mine. Nina's head snapped toward the wall, and then jerked away instantly like it burned. "Ben, don't look, please." I didn't look again. I couldn't undo the first glance, but I could stop feeding it. We slipped into the side corridor by the guidance office, headed away from the lobby windows, toward the stairwell and the lower floors. As soon as the lobby wasn't in our peripheral, the pressure behind my eyes eased up a fraction. Not relief, just less finger on the forehead. The stairwell walls were veined now. Pale lines traced cinder block seams. They wrapped around metal brackets. They dipped under the exit sign casing like plastic was nothing. The air smelled like wet earth. Not mildew. Earth. Like a garden after rain. That should have been comforting. It made me feel sick. Tyler took the first step down and paused, head tilted. Hear that? At first, I didn't. Then I caught it. A low vibration running through the building. Not HVAC, not a generator. Something slower. A pulse. It felt like the school had a heartbeat. Nina whispered, "They're not wrecking it." Tyler shot her a look. "Stop talking like that." Nina swallowed. "They're building something." I didn't argue because the deeper we went, the more it looked like construction. We hit the lower landing, the one that led toward maintenance and storage. The doorframe looked swollen. Pale tissue had pushed itself between metal and cinder block and made the doorway look lined with muscle. Tyler grabbed the handle anyway. It opened easy. It opened like the building wanted us down there. The hallway beyond used to smell like mop water and electrical heat. There used to be laminated custodial schedules on the wall and a sign about not leaving buckets in the corridor. Now, the walls bowed inwards, not collapsing, curving. Locker banks were half swallowed and reshaped into rib-like supports. Vent slats were filled with pale tissue that rose and fell slightly like breathing. The floor felt faintly warm under my shoes. Not heat from sun, heat from underneath. A ruler bug crawled along the baseboard and vanished into a seam that hadn't existed before. It moved like it had somewhere to be, not like it was panicking. Glossy body, segmented, lined with too many blinking eyes, each one catching tiny reflections of the hall. Tyler pointed without looking directly. "They're still here." "Yeah," I said, "but they're working." Nina hugged herself tighter, like ants. The word landed heavy because it was the closest normal thing we had. We moved until we found a door that still looked mostly normal. An old admin office used for testing accommodations or storage. A little plaque read records, faded like it hadn't been dusted in years. Tyler shoved it open. Inside, the air was stale and paper dry, like the room had been sealed forever. Filing cabinet crooked, desk chair tipped on its side. Someone's lanyard hanging from a drawer handle, keys still attached. The kind with a little plastic tag that probably said main office. And in the corner, mounted high like someone forgot it existed, a TV glowed faintly blue. Not bright, just alive. Tyler let out something that almost sounded like a laugh. Then it died halfway out. The screen wasn't blank. It showed an emergency broadcast frozen mid-frame. Skyline shot from a helicopter or a rooftop camera. Buildings silhouetted. Streets empty. The bottom chyron was stuck mid-scroll. Avoid visual contact with upper atmosphere. Shelter in place. Do not. It cut off there like someone hit pause and it had never resumed. Above the skyline, the sky wasn't empty. Layered. At first glance, it looked like bad distortion, like the picture had been stretched. Then my eyes adjusted and I realized the clouds had edges. Hard edges. Interlocking shapes stacked over each other like folded structures. Not falling. Not moving like aircraft, already in place. The kind of sight that makes you understand you've been living under something you didn't notice until it decided you were allowed to notice. Nina whispered, "They were already here." Tyler backed away from the screen like it could grab him. So that alert, that was real. It was real, I said. My mouth was dry. I tried to swallow and tasted copper again. Nina looked at the frozen chyron. "So why tell people?" I stared at the TV and the pulsing veins in the doorway, and the way the room felt like it had a hum under it, like a fridge you only hear when it stops. It wasn't to save anybody, I said. It was a leash, a way to keep us from doing whatever happens when you see it too long, like your brain locks onto the wrong channel and won't let go. Tyler frowned. So the people who look. My brain tried to slide around it. It didn't work. They got used, I said, and hated how small that sounded for what it meant. They ended up in the walls, in the floor, wherever this needs material. We stood in the dry records room and listened to the building's pulse. And for a second, the silence felt like the last thin layer between thinking and screaming. Tyler moved closer to the TV without meaning to. I saw it in his shoulders first, a lean, like the sound in the building was tugging him forward a centimeter at a time. He whispered, Do you think other places are like this? Nina shook her head fast, but it didn't look certain. This can't be everywhere. I stared at the skyline. The frozen shot didn't show fire, no explosions. It showed emptiness, quiet streets, the kind of quiet that means it wasn't loud, it was thorough. It's not about the school, I said. The school's just a container, a mold. Tyler's voice went flat. So what are we supposed to do? My brain wanted to hand him a plan, something step by step. It came up blank. We're supposed to keep our heads down and wait for someone to save us, I said. And even saying it made my stomach twist because it sounded like a joke, and I didn't have the energy to laugh. Tyler made a short noise. Not humor, more like a cough. And that's not happening. I reached for the filing cabinet, not because I thought a folder would save us, but because I needed my hands on something that still felt like metal. Normal. The handle was cold, and the normalness almost made me flinch. I yanked it open. Folders, old attendance printouts, IEP paperwork, a stack of outdated drill sheets with dates and signatures. Underneath that, a yellow notepad with rushed adult handwriting. If this is some kind of prank, you're going to kill people. Below it, a list, like the person writing was trying to keep themselves from floating away. Do not look up. Keep students inside interior rooms. Turn off monitors. If they say fear not, ignore it. They want you calm. The last line was torn mid-sentence, like someone grabbed the page and yanked it hard. The building feels... And then, nothing. Nina stared at the page in my hand. Someone knew. Someone tried, I said. Tyler's jaw worked like he was chewing something bitter. Where are they? I didn't answer because the answer was in the walls, in the pulse, in the way the building seemed to respond when we noticed it. I shoved the notepad into my pocket like it mattered, like keeping it meant the person who wrote it wasn't completely erased. A horn cord rolled through the building then, not from the TV, not from outside the walls, everywhere, low and resonant, like a bass note that makes your teeth buzz. It wasn't a blast. It felt tuned, like a signal. The pale veins in the doorway tightened. The tissue along the corner of the frame flexed like it heard a command. Tyler whispered, "That's not warning anybody." Nina's nails dug into her own arm. "It's calling." The building agreed with her. The pulse strengthened and then softened, like something took a breath. Tyler glanced at the power strip behind the filing cabinet. "Turn it off." "Don't touch the screen," Nina whispered immediately, like instinct. Tyler snapped. I'm not touching. He reached for the power strip and froze as the wall beside the outlet rippled. Not dramatic, just a skin shift, like the building noticed his hand and answered. Tyler jerked back, face pale. Okay, we're done here. We left the records room and climbed back up. Not running. Running didn't feel like escape anymore. It felt like volunteering to get noticed. On the stairs, Nina whispered, Eli. The name hit like someone dropped a fork in a quiet kitchen. Tyler shot her a look. Don't. Nina's voice wobbled. He was there, and then he wasn't. I pictured Eli's half smile, the humming, the way he watched everything like it was a show. I pictured him in the lobby with us, calm, saying the quiet part out loud. Then nothing. No scream, no fight, just absence. He didn't resist, I said, and it came out harsher than I meant. Nina flinched, but didn't argue. Her eyes went shiny again. I didn't know if Eli had been taken, or if he'd stepped into whatever this was, like he'd been waiting for it. Either option made my stomach twist. When we reached the main floor again, the lobby had changed while we were gone. The pale webbing overhead had retracted into smoother, thicker spans that looked more like structure than net. The ceiling wasn't a ceiling. It was a framework, a cradle. The front office counter was half covered in pale tissue, and the stapler was sunk into it, like the surface softened and then decided to hold it there. A coffee stain on the tile had been absorbed, leaving a darker patch that looked like bruising under skin. The trophy case glass was fogged from the inside, like something behind it was breathing against the panel. Tyler saw it and swallowed hard. Don't look in there. I didn't. Curiosity was a hook. I was done volunteering. And the watcher stood exactly where it had been, waiting. It hadn't moved an inch. It didn't need to. The building had arranged itself around it like it was an organ. Tyler stopped short, hands trembling. So it just stands there. It didn't move. It didn't have to. Nina whispered, It's letting us go. Being allowed is worse than escaping. Allowed means you're still inside the plan. I looked at the front doors. They were open. Outside was bright, not sun bright. The same steady white output light that didn't behave like daylight. It spilled across the tile in shapes that didn't match the doorframe. I could feel it against my shoes, like warmth from a space heater. Tyler's voice dropped. We can't go out there. Nina shook her head fast. We'll die. I thought about the hallway behind us, about the school turning into anatomy, about tendrils learning hands, about people being pressed into the walls like the building needed them. Inside meant getting used. Outside meant looking. The watcher's big eye rotated slightly, tracking our hesitation. A pressure gathered behind my eyes, gentle at first, like someone resting a finger on your forehead. Not force, influence. A push toward calm. Nina flinched like the thought hit her in the mouth. Tyler said, Don't say it. No one had said anything out loud. The building had. I felt it like a vibration in my teeth. A phrase without sound, trying to find our throats. Nina grabbed my hand. Tyler grabbed Nina's hand. The chain felt stupid and necessary. We go, I said, and my voice sounded tired in a way that made me hate myself. Tyler's voice broke. Where? I stared at the tile seam, running toward the door. There, Nina whispered. Ben. I didn't answer. We walked past the watcher. It didn't touch us. Its eye reflected 3 small figures crossing a lobby that felt like a throat. At the threshold, the air changed. School smell dropped away. Outside smelled like asphalt warming under light, faint gasoline, and ozone like after lightning. The town sat still. Cars abandoned at angles that made no sense. A bus half pulled over with its door open. A shopping cart tipped on its side near the curb. A newspaper box hanging open, papers fanned like someone snatched at them and ran. A phone buzzed once somewhere close by, weak and dying, and then went quiet. A dog collar lay in the street. No dog, just a collar and a snapped leash clip. Tyler's breathing went loud. This is wrong.